Welcome, golf fans, pursuers of knowledge and the almighty dollar. This is your golf guru bringing you the 2022 Zurich Classic. This is going to be my DFS pick show. Also going to combine in anything that I would do in the before the lock show because, well, without one and done and a few other things, there's just not a ton to cover. But I do want to get you guys all the information that I'm looking at to make my picks, of course, for Draftkings. And with that said, let's talk some golf. Okay, I brought these guys up yesterday. I want to bring them up again. Hey, you need to check out Craftsman's Golf if you are looking for a unique custom gift. Maybe it's for yourself, maybe it's for Father's Day, or just a golfer that you know that doesn't have something like this. Check them out. You get a 10% discount on your first purchase. Just got to give them an email address of any sort. And I think it's really cool stuff. I already mentioned I just purchased a few items from them, and they make a great gift. So, hey, craftsmangolf.com. Check them out. All right, so I didn't do comp courses yesterday, and I thought, hey, I'm going to give you guys a little more information from a stroke gain analysis modeling perspective. And what I wanted to look at was just a real simplified model. I just wanted to look at putting around the green, approaching off the tee. I set those all at 25% weighted. And looking over the last 12 rounds, I wanted to see on courses it would be like Bay Hill, where they played the Arnold Palmer. You would also have like CC of Jackson, where they play Sanderson Farms, CC of Houston, where they play the Houston Open or Memorial Park. Also, I threw in Quail Hollow. Did a couple of the one-offs, so where they played the Workday, I believe that was at Concession, and then also the Palmetto at Congress. So I grabbed some courses that had Bermuda, over 7,400 yards, and were like this, and was just curious for myself which teams rated out the best. Again, I really feel like trying to leverage stroke gain analysis and all this information really doesn't help as much as it typically does. But if you're just trying to get some ideas on guys that would do well on this course as a team, these are the guys. All right, so funny enough, it looks like pretty much the best team that rated out on the comparable courses would be Team Chile. So Joaquin Niemann and Mito Pierre, you can see their rank here over the last, well, they only have 5 and 4 rounds on these type courses, but still pretty good showing. And then all the rest of these guys have 12 rounds. It would be Gooch and Homa would be, you can make them almost number 1 or number 2 team. You've got Hatton and Willett, a 20th and 29th place. And then you got Kirk and Todd, which, you know, maybe one of the more boring teams out there, but very, I'd say probably the closest team on how they play together. Both really good at the same things. Maybe Todd's a little better putter on Bermuda over his historical information. But anyways, I wanted to provide that. And then what I'm going to do is go jump in. Let's go look at some of the past teams and how they've done in this format. And then I'll jump over, give you my picks, and we'll do weather and ownership projections. Okay, so this is something that, of course, you can do on your own. I'm just going to PGAtour.com, pulling up past results of the Zurich Classic. I also looked at the QBE, but, you know, there's like literally like 11 or 12 teams. And the only thing I can make a note, I believe, was Billy Horschel and Sam Burns also played the QBE. And I think they got a second place in their past. So just want to mention that. But if you look at 2017, and here we can move the dates. We're going to start from the first year that this was a team event at the Zurich. Of course, I mentioned Cam Smith, who's won here twice with Jonas Blix. I think they were the highest odds of a team to win at that time. I think they were like 100 to 1, something like that. Of course, you got Kisner and Scott, who came in second. They are a pairing. And what's kind of interesting, well, actually, I think kind of humorous as we go through some of these teams, is there's a lot of likes, like doppelgangers, and we're going to see our like names. Of course, Ryan Palmer at the time had to play with Jordan Spieth, who was in pretty good form. It seems like Ryan Palmer somehow, I don't know what it is, but it gets to play with either the best player in the world at the time or one of the better talents. I'm just going to scroll through a couple of these, see what we see. I think this is funny. Chris Stroud with Brian Stuart, like literally, you're talking about if you are new to fantasy golf. Chris Stroud, I don't even know if he's on the tour anymore. He might be down at the Corn Ferry, but these guys, when I remember a long time ago when I first started, I always mixed these guys together all the time. Then you got the Patricks. I don't know what it is, but they just kind of threw in a very similar, like either names or guys that look a lot together, like each other. You got Merritt and Streb, who are playing in this. They had a T24 back then, so they have some history. You know, a good thing to point out. I do like the teams that were guys that played together. This is my favorite. You had Harris English and Hudson Swafford, who I think those guys, the way their whole demeanor and how they look, they're like the perfect doppelganger. They remind me so much of each other. See if anything else. Lucas Glover and Ches Reavie are a pair or a team in this upcoming event. So I think that's kind of interesting that they do have some prior experience together. And just see if anybody else pops out here that we might want to note. Billy Horschel played a long time ago with Matt Avery. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I'd have to check my facts. Matt Avery, I think, also played at Florida. There's that Chris Kirk, Brendan Todd. So they played together back then, missed the cut. I think that's it. And then Rose and Stenson, that one kind of shocked me. Of course, I don't remember exactly, but these guys back in 2017 were in pretty good form. And I'd have to think that was probably the big upset out of all of it. All right, let's go quickly look through some of the other years, and then we'll move on. All right, so of course, 2018, you had Billy Ho win with Scott Piercy. Seems like the teams here weren't as strong. Of course, Louis and Charles, who are not in the field, but of course, last year they came in second also, so pretty strong pairing. Anybody else that stands out? Got the Patricks again. Trying to see if there's any pairings that are the same. There's the Kisner Brown T15. So those guys have played quite a bit. I just feel like, I don't know. I don't feel like their game is where I like it. You got Glover and Ches. There's that Stroud and Stewart again. That's hilarious to me. Any other Benoit? Nope, that's not with. I'm just trying to see if there's any other pairings that we want to call out. There's Burns back with McGirt. That's an interesting pairing. I feel like those guys just got stuck together. There was Gooch with Landry. Not that they're playing together, but I just kind of think it was interesting. There's Palmer and Spieth again, who that was probably a pretty big upset. Okay. And that could definitely happen here. I mean, that's something also that I wanted to show you is that no matter how good a team looks on paper, it doesn't always mean there's going to be success. All right, getting a little more recent. So you had Palmer, of course, and Rahm, who won this thing. There's Fleetwood and Sergio came in second, who, of course, is a team. There's Kisner and Brown again. And I think they're pretty modestly priced. I think 7,500, 7,600 T5. There was Billy Horschel and Scott Piercy at T13. And I guess this is when Billy Horschel decided that he had to upgrade his pairing and cut Scott Piercy. There's Lucas Glover and Ches Reavie again at T18. I think it's funny that the Koepka brothers played together back then. There's Troy Merritt and Robert Streb at a T22. So they've quite a bit of experience. There was Team Canada, Mackenzie Hughes and Corey Connors. There's Cameron Swift and Jonas Blix. They missed a cut that year. Burns and Champ. Okay, let's move on to the most recent, and then we'll get on with this. Again, so Leishman Smith won last year. There's Louis and Charles, who are not in this one. I do believe, this is interesting, that Peter Uihlein and Wawrinski, of course, if you guys have been following me for a little bit, I've been taking some long shot bets on Richie. That pairing ended up third. So there you go. I mean, that's where I'm saying that almost a little bit like almost a little bit like the WGC match play. This is just kind of a different beast. Keegan Bradley and Brendan Steele are playing again together. Of course, Burns and Horschel. You got Mitchell and Snedeker. Rahm and Palmer did not do as well. You got Hatton and Willett, who are together again. Of course, Scotty Scheffler's with Palmer. So Bubba Watson's with HV3. Then you had the Cantlay Xander Schauffele duo that was the favorite last year, and I want to say it didn't perform well, but a T11 for that team, I think a lot of people were high on. I think Duncan and Schenk, they're together. That's kind of an interesting pairing I was looking at. Hoffman and Watney. Hoffman is just terrible, so I couldn't go there. There's the Rose Stenson, or maybe they are paired together. I thought Rose was somebody else. We'll have to look at that, but they've had a lot of pairings, but again, both games I don't think are that great right now, but who knows? Wyndham Clark, EVR, Clark's with Tringali. There's the Gooch Homa that's paired together. I do believe Ryder and Redmond are together again. There's the Nora and Norlander. So you can see a lot of the teams that are playing right now. Of course, Hovland's with Morikawa. And then poor Morikawa got stuck with Wolf, and they missed the cut. Yeah, right here. Matthew Wolf's game is just struggling. There's my Merritt Streb again. They play together. All right, I think that's enough. If you want to go look at this further, go check out PGAtour.com. Put in past results for the Zurich, and you can also dive in a little further. Okay, so let's go look at some ownership projections. Again, not a lot of interest in this tournament, at least. This is Tuesday. You only got 1,500 actual lineups created, so that's a small sample size. But, I mean, I don't think it's going to be rocket science on where some of this ownership falls. The one that is pretty unique that I already noticed was Adam Svensson, who he has paired. I think it was with Bobby Mack. That's Laird, right? For whatever reason, the partner's not showing up on here, and I don't remember off the top of my head. But anyways, the highest owned, of course, Morikawa and Hovland. I think the next would be the Homa Gooch, Wilsey and Riley, the Svensson. You got Mad McNeely with Bramlett, Sam Ryder. Not even sure who he's paired with, but I did look at that team. And that's really it. I just wanted to give you guys the highest ownership teams as of right now. If for some odd reason you want to try to pivot, and this is a good, to kind of fade the chalk is, I think this is the event to do that. All right, real quickly, let's go look at weather. If you are going to play some kind of showdown or something, of course, pull Wind Finder. You're going to want to pull up this Naval Air Station in New Orleans. And really the weather, let's get to Thursday here. There's going to be some wind. It looks like every day there's going to be wind. I think the strongest day they're predicting kind of looks like maybe Sunday, but Sunday and Saturday, maybe a little rain in the afternoon. But overall, the weather looks pretty good. I was kind of looking at this. There was a team with Laird and Bobby Mack that if we had some weather, of course, they're Team Scotland. I was going to get those guys involved. So, there is going to be some wind. So, if maybe a Fleetwood Garcia, if even I think Scheffler Palmer, if the wind kicks up from Team Texas, could be a good play. But anyways, just want to kind of jump on that. All right, let's go over the teams that I'm my favorite picks or teams and get you guys out of here. Okay, so the top 3 teams that I'm going to be going with that I like the most is right off the bat, Billy Horschel and Sam Burns. I think these guys are going to take this very serious, at least for sure Billy Horschel. Like I told you guys, everything I saw in the previous, that he has such a strategy and he wants to win this thing. I don't even think he's got a win yet this year. So for him, of course, Burns just won the Valspar, good form. But Billy Ho here with the grumpy face definitely wants to take this thing down as very competitive. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, to be honest. I kind of feel like the guys that come in and don't expect, a whole lot from each other and just are there and enjoy it and just kind of free, loose golf, might actually do pretty well. I mean, I look at like what Leishman and Cam Smith, kind of their demeanor in this event last year. But anyways, I like these guys. They're in the 9,000 range. I'm actually fading, and I, of course, didn't go through the usual analysis because there's just no way to really do it, and I just don't think it's applicable. So these are the 2 guys that I like the best. Of course, I already have a bet on them. Talked about them yesterday. The next team, I think, like I said, give me the best player in the world playing amazing golf. Ryan Palmer is one of the better ball strikers. Now his putter can just go, either south or be, can get very hot. But both of them being from Texas, again, if there is the wind, I think it's a pretty good play. And again, for their price tag, I think they're in the 9,000 range. If I remember right, yeah, I think mid 9s. And you're going to see I didn't pick any guys in the 10,000 range. And then the last one, of course, Team Chile. I think everybody's psyched about this, and this is probably the team that misses the cut and will bust a bunch of lineups. So, watch out for that. I would guess they're going to be pretty chalky when it's all said and done. But I think like everybody, good friends, grew up together, lived together. As far as I know, maybe even now are roommates. Last I heard, at least when Mito first got on tour, I know he was rooming with Joaquin. But kind of similar games, really good ball strikers. I'd say both can get hot or be average with the putter, but Mito had that streak with the Bermuda over early in the Florida swing. So those are probably my top 3 teams that I'll be going with, building a lot of my builds up with. And then if get into my mid 3 teams, so this is getting more kind of the lower 9s, mid 8s. Of course, I'm a fan of both these guys. And so I think it's another thing. Play the guys that you like. If you've got a team that you just really like, play them, man. Because like I said, this is just a quirky event. But I think both of them great ball strikers, especially with that 200 out that I mentioned. Very good with the hybrids, the long irons, and both pretty decent putters. And then the one that I think is kind of unique, but I just like these. I think Straka's playing amazing golf. Grayson Sigg, man, he can have some really nice rounds. So they both came from Georgia. I don't know if they've ever played in a team event like this that I could find, but of course they know each other, good friends. And I just really like what Straka's been doing with the putter in his game. So why not? And then the one I wasn't 100% sure, but the more, these guys have played a ton together and they both don't have a win recently. And I know Snedeker could really use it. And they've had some good showings. So Killer Keith playing good golf this year, had a good Florida swing. And then Brad Snedeker's had a here or there pop up couple rounds. I think he had even one decent tournament this year. But in this kind of format, I like these guys. So that's my mid-tier teams I'll be going with. And then when you get kind of in the lower range, the guys that I'm looking at, I told you Merritt and Streb. Of course, we saw Streb contend there at the RBC, but kind of fell apart. But has been playing pretty good golf. And same with Mr. Troy Merritt there. I believe last couple tournaments he had a top 15 and a top 10, and he can could hopefully help them with the putter, as we saw Streb not the best putter. And then how can you not go with this pairing? You get the Big Beautiful and my favorite Austin Smotherman. So I actually threw a bet on these guys too, and I'm gonna be rooting for them. I mean, I told you if you haven't got to watch Austin Smotherman, it's kind of a poor man's Will Z. Really good ball striker, not the greatest around the green, and the putters, And then Harry Higgs, a little bit like Jordan Spieth. Watch that guy; he'll chip in from wherever. It's just kind of known, and we'll pull off some eagles. So just thought that was kind of a unique pairing, and liked it from a betting perspective, and also I'll play him in DFS. And then my last one is Tringali and Wyndham Clark. I think for the value that you're getting here, again, Tringali finally showed up at the RBC. I think he's a solid all around player. And then Wyndham Clark's typically really good off the tee and a good putter. The rest is kind of shaky. But they both could use a win. Trigali's never had a win on tour. So this would make kind of sense where you get your first win here. I think there was even some guys talking about would be kind of funny if Xander and Cantlay did win this. That's Xander's win, which he's won on tour, but it's been so long. So, anyways, that's kind of the 9 teams. That's all I'm going to give you is 9 teams. You got 80 teams, but those are going to be kind of the core teams that I'm going to build with, and that's the guys that I like. And that's it. I told you it was going to be a quick show. Just not a ton of analysis, not a ton of we don't have one and done, and just everything. I think everybody's just look at this as a kind of a fun event. Again, I told you I'm going to be pretty light on both sides, DFS and the betting. I need a little bit of a break from that standpoint, and then be ready to fire up for the Mexico Open. All right, guys. If you do me the honor, though, if you did watch this, click that like button. Put any comments you want. Say, hey, you stink. I don't care. Put a comment in there. I always appreciate you guys' feedback. And hit that subscribe button if you are not a subscriber, still growing that base. And I'll be putting out some tweets. So if you want to check me out on Twitter, please do so. And hey, enjoy the Zurich. It's, like I said, it's different. At least it is something different that we don't get to see every week in, week out. And, I like some long shots to actually maybe pull this thing out. You never know. All right, guys, take care. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you next Monday.